This is the Goal S, and I thought I'd just demonstrate what works for me when picking it. I find that kind of the opposite of the jiggle test works for me. So with the standard jiggle test, you press the end of the pick on the key pin, and if it jiggles or bounces, then it's set, and you don't touch it anymore. If it's really stiff, then it's bound, and that's the one you pick. I've found with this lock that I can't really tell the difference between bound and set by how it feels. So what I do instead is use pick force to determine which pin I should pick. So I apply fairly light force with the tip of the pick, and if the pin moves, then that's the one I pick. If it doesn't move, then I leave it alone. And if it moves, it's going to be a very short distance, get a click if it's going into the milling, or if it's a T-pin leaving the milling. And then if it's a thin lip, spool, or mushroom leaving the milling, you'll get some counter rotation. So if I get counter rotation, I know that's absolutely the pin to pick. And I mean a full range of counter rotation rather than just a hint of it when you first press on the pin. If I get just a hint of it and then it stops, then I just move on to another one. Doesn't want to move. Feels like it could be binding, but just because it's this lock, I'm not going to force it. That's more force than I know it takes to move these pins, so I'm just going to leave it alone. Got a little bit of counter rotation there and a click. Didn't take much force at all. So that would be one of the thin lip spools leaving the milling. Another light force and click. Counter rotation, click. Counter rotation, click. And open. So on that last one, the very last pin that opened it, I just basically tapped it. 4 and 5 are T-pins on this. So there aren't lips that have to leave the milling. So the T-pins will just require a tap, get them out of the milling. But I had my pick on 4, which was set. And to me, it felt like it was bound. On this lock, with my hands, I find it very difficult to feel the difference between bound and set with a jiggle test. So I just use pick force, and it seems to work really well for me.